Ready, set, go.
Okay, I'm ready. Hi. Okay, I think we're going to get started. Everybody over there, we're going to get started when you're ready. Get some salads and come on over. My name's Debbie Lucas, dietitian. And today we are talking about pumping up the volume. Now, Paul suggested I carry my big boom box like and say anything and hold it up like that, but no, I didn't bring it. I don't have a boom box anymore. But we're talking about the volume of our food. So how's everybody's 4th of July? Good? Any like particularly fabulous foods you made or ate? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Pasta. Okay. What?
Fabulous has a lot of connotations.
It does. Okay. Fabulous food I would eat. Maybe we say that. I don't know.
Beans and greens.
Beans and greens? Okay, that sounds good. All right. You know, in a couple weeks, John and I are going to be doing a demo, and we're debating picnic/grill. Well, we'll have something fun. That would have been perfect on the 4th of July, I bet. So, yes. I can't say I had anything great except I didn't bring anything to where I went, but they had this black bean burger that they had gotten at Costco that I had never had before, and it was pretty darn good. But you could also make your own, which is what I typically do, is make my own little, but we could do that too, John. Make our own little sliders. Okay, but we're talking about pump up the volume, which is kind of code for let's eat more, but have it be fewer calories. So actually for people who are worried about their weight or trying to get their weight off a little bit, pumping up the volume is the secret to that. But it's also a good way to get more veggies in. So let's see. And I have a little clip that in here, it's like 6 minutes. It was Dr. Greger, and he did one that talked about volume and also brings into some information about we've been talking about having less processed foods. So he does a good job, I thought. So we'll watch him. So volumetrics is actually a thing, and it was created by this gal named Barbara Rolls. And she looked into the energy density of the foods that we eat. So her thing was eat more food for the same or fewer calories. And sometimes it can be shocking. So if you have a 100-calorie snack, like we have two here, you have 2 cups of grapes, or you have a 1/4 cup of raisins. Oh, it says 1 cup. I think it's actually, yeah,
Measuring cups.
my measuring cup's wrong, but it really should be 1. That's a deceiving picture. So which do you think is more satisfying, when you eat the big amount of grapes or when you eat the little tiny amount of raisins? The grapes are filled with water. They take up more volume and they fill up our stomach more. So while the raisins are good, they just started with grapes and sucked out all the water. So we have to watch our portion of the raisins or other dehydrated foods. And while we're on this, I'm just going to throw in, I'm a lover of the craisin. Anybody here like craisins? Sadly, they have loads of sugar. If you have a choice and you like them both, go with the raisin, because the craisin are so tart, they add a lot of sugar. You can buy them without sugar added. You can. They're generally a little more expensive. But the raisin, they usually don't add sugar to it. With the craisin, they add a few teaspoons of sugar to your serving. So, in case you want. But if you love the craisin, have the craisin. So here's another like energy density. So there's actually a math problem when you do the energy density. Let me move this little picture out here. Is the calories of your food divided by the weight of your food in grams. So here on the left, we have a high energy density. Another way to think of density is you can also think calories or energy, it's calories, high calories per bite. So high energy density is high calories per bite. Low energy density is low calories per bite. So over here, what do we have? A 1/4 of a cinnamon roll or 3/4 of a cinnamon roll, a few fries, half a burger. I think that might be a salad, but is it smothered in blue cheese or something? That could be part of a pie and some potato chips. So all that's 1,500 calories. But look on the other side. 1,500 calories on the low energy density one, fewer calories per bite. And which one do you think is going to fill you up the most and satisfy you? Or which one are you going to enjoy the most? Do you think? The low energy density is going to be the one that we know is better for us. I mean, that's kind of a trick question. But you've got all these veggies and produce, but you still have a sandwich. I love that they put some grapes in that whatever salad is in the sandwich. Um, would you enjoy that one? Yeah. The other one, also, I love the colorfulness of the one on the right versus the bland white on the one on the left. Um, they included lots of beverages, which is interesting because I would discourage the beverages on either side. But that's what we want to try to aim for, is have more foods that are going to fill us up for fewer calories per bite. And the fun part is that's lots of fruits and vegetables. Now, also, here's another way to think about why we would want to do this. If we ate, which I know we wouldn't, but if we ate just 400 calories of oil, look how much of your stomach that fills up. Hardly any. Doesn't even make a dent. You probably think you're still hungry, even though you just ate 400 calories. If we had some fried chicken, that fills up a little bit more. But look what 400 calories worth of veggies does. That fills up our stomach, even expands it a little bit. So those little stretch receptors send a signal to our brain that says, yeah, we're full, we're satisfied right now. We didn't even make a dent in it with the other two. So, oh, here's our little video.
So the links is below.
The link's below. Linda set this up for me. Thank you. So it's a combination of ultra-processed foods and calorie density. So I thought it was, well, good with what we're talking about today. Okay. Did I do it right? Wrong? No. Linda has the magic touch.
One of the mechanisms linking increased consumption of ultra-processed foods and increased risk of death and disease is calorie overload, leading to excess body fat. This could be due to all the extra sugar and fat added to these foods, but in my last video I profiled a randomized controlled study that found that those in the ultra-processed diet gained more weight than those eating unprocessed foods, even when the two diets were matched with the same nutrient profile. But ultra-processed foods are also designed to be eaten quickly, and indeed, the ultra-processed group snarfed calories at a 50% faster rate, so changes in texture due to processing may contribute to the calorie overload, but so too may the increased calorie density of ultra-processed foods, as well as the degradation of the food matrix. Calorie density is the number of calories for a given weight or volume of food. Some foods have more calories per cup, per pound, per mouthful than others. Oil, for example, has a high calorie density, which means it has a high calorie concentration, with lots of calories packed into a small space. Drizzling just 1 tablespoon of oil on a dish adds 120 calories. For those same 120 calories, you could eat about 2 cups of blackberries, food with a low calorie density. You could swallow that spoonful of oil, not even feel a difference in your stomach, but eating a couple cups of berries could start to fill you up. A handful of jelly beans has about 16 times more calories than a handful of cherry tomatoes. So for the same number of calories, you could eat that 1 handful of jelly beans or about 4 cups of cherry tomatoes. A large serving of French fries is about the same size and weight as a baked potato, but has about 4 times as many calories. So, for the same number of calories, you could have that single serving of fries, or around 4 baked potatoes. Which do you think would be more filling? Ultra-processed foods tend to have about twice the calorie density compared to unprocessed foods, more than 1,000 calories per pound, similar to what you see at fast food joints, whereas rural West African diets that closely represent the likely diet of our ancient ancestors average fewer than 500 calories per pound. So the biological mechanism our bodies use to regulate our weight likely evolved in the context of eating at least 4 or 5 pounds of food a day. That may be the more natural amount of food we eat. If our body is counting on eating 5 pounds of food, but you max out with the same number of calories eating just 2 pounds of ultra-processed food, what do you think happens? It's no wonder we overeat. Our bodies are expecting 3 more pounds of food. Our bodies just weren't designed to handle such calorie-concentrated diets. No wonder ultra-processed foods are more fattening. But wait, that study where people ended up 4 pounds heavier within 2 weeks of eating an ultra-processed diet compared to an unprocessed diet not only matched the two diets for nutrients like fat and sugar, but also for calorie density. How did they do that? Here's an example of one of the ultra-processed meals the researchers fed people: a deli meat and cheese quesadilla with ultra-processed refried beans, sour cream, and salsa. Compare that to one of their unprocessed meals, a big southwestern entree salad with black beans, nuts, avocados, corn, grapes, apples. Wait a second, how could you possibly make these the same calorie density, the same number of calories per pound? By adding not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 cups of Crystal Light, diet sugar-free lemonade, to help even out the calories per total poundage. But that's kind of cheating. Calorie density shouldn't be based on foods and beverages, but ideally based on food only, because beverages are so heavy just from the water that they can disproportionately influence calorie density calculations. If you just look at the calorie density of the food, the non-beverage calorie density was 85% higher on the ultra-processed foods diet, which could account for some of that weight gain. You can't fault the researchers for trying the diet lemonade trick. High calorie density is such an inherent property of so many ultra-processed foods. How else could you possibly actually match it with a variety of unprocessed foods? And that's the problem. High calorie density is one of the reasons ultra-processed foods may be contributing to obesity.
Okay. So the one thing I don't get on that is, isn't Crystal Light 0 calories? So they must have added it either for the calories, if it had any calories, or to have it be more weight. Thanks, Mom. I was going to talk until I figured my way around it. So he's saying that ultra-processed food, and we've been talking about ultra-processed food for like the last month since Dr. Lopez was here, I know. And it's made in such a way that we digest it really quickly, we can eat it really fast, and it doesn't fill us up. Like, I thought that was interesting how he showed we were, over time, our ancestors were meant to eat like 4 or 5 pounds of food. And so if we get the same calories from a donut, we're going to keep eating because it hasn't satisfied us yet. Well, I thought that was interesting. Okay, so here we go. There's different levels of energy density. You don't have to know all this. So I just want to show which categories we want to be steering clear of. So the lowest are going to be our fruits and veggies, our non-starchy fruits and veggies. What's a starchy veggie? Potato. Peas, good one. Nobody thinks of peas, good one. And corn. So those just have more calories. They're still very good for you, but they're just a little more calories per bite. Our non-fat milk fits in here, broth-based soups. So I can't remember if I have a slide that says this, but what Barbara Rolls did was she did a study where people were eating this broth-based soup, and it found out that they ate less if they filled up first with the broth-based soup. I don't know if I have that on my slide. Then we got low energy density. This is where we get more starchy stuff. Grains, breakfast cereals. Lean meats can fit in here too, possibly, like probably fish would be our leanest. Beans, and then low-fat mixed dishes like pasta or chili. Then we got medium energy density. This is where we're starting to we should watch this stuff. Meats, cheeses, pizza, the high calorie stuff. Pretzels are in there. And we always think, oh, pretzels are probably a really good food. They're kind of low in calorie, don't have any fat, but they're more calorie dense because they don't contain any water. And then the high energy density ones are the ones we really want to not have too much of, or treat them as special when we do have them and just have a little. Crackers, chips, stuff that has really no water in it, but it's very calorie dense. And nuts are in there too. So nuts have a lot of calories per bite. I don't think that's a secret to any of us. So here's just a little chart. I think I have two different charts, depending on how your brain works. People like to look at it different ways. But this is the calorie density of the average calories per 100 grams per a weight, 100 grams of food. So our vegetables and fruits and vegetables and grains, from that previous slide, we know those are the low energy density things. So no secret, those are over there. And then we start moving up. Ice cream, oil's the most energy dense. So how many calories per 100 gram of food? 880 for 100 grams of oil. And then we got our butter. Our nuts and seeds are out there too. But our chips, pretzels, especially, gosh, I think of those as like those finger foods. I bet those were at your 4th of July party that you went to, and they're like quick and easy to eat. They're the perfect example of what Dr. Greger was talking about. They're ultra processed foods that digest quickly and they don't fill you up. And this one just shows it sideways if you like that. So this is calories per pound of food, which pound speaks more my language than the grams. So we want the things above the red line. There's our beans, our whole grains, our rice, the things we always talk about: fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and beans and legumes. Those are up the top. And then avocados are right on the line. So we know those are a healthy fat, but they are very energy dense, calorie dense. And then we move down to our oils are still at the bottom, our nuts and seeds, cheese, dry cereal, all the things we want to do a little less of. So what do you think? Anything on there that surprises you or that you think, oh, shoot, now I got to watch out for that? Okay. All right.
It's kind of hard to read. Yeah. Black on.
Oh, you were right. It is.
Can't read any fun.
Okay. Well, let me help. So we got ice cream. We got breads. Bread, bagels, wraps, tortillas would fit in there too. That's the 1400. The 1600 is cheese and dry cereal. The 1800 is sugar, crackers, and popcorn. And popcorn, I don't think that's very fair because I think popcorn is actually a great food, but I'm thinking they're thinking movie theater popcorn that's smothered in butter. It starts out great for you. And then chocolate's 2500. 2800 is nuts and seeds, but also butters and tahini, which is that sesame seed paste that actually I do use a lot. And then the last one, 4000 calories per pound of this food are all the oils. Yes.
What would happen if you just eat all that low stuff and don't eat any fats or oils at all? That wouldn't be.
Well, we do need to have some fat. So when we have fat, we want the healthy fat. But notice that, well, maybe I don't know if it has it on here. Like the oils, or they took those olives, let's say, and squished out all the oil, left behind any, fiber or anything that was there in that original olive. So it's easy to get a lot of it fast. I think that's the point of it. It's easy to get a lot of it fast. And you've never read a recipe that didn't, except for anyone John and I have given you, that says start out by sauteing your onions in 2 tablespoons of oil. So we do need some, you're absolutely right. What we want to be aware of is how much we have of these higher density foods. So eating the whole nut or seed is going to be better for us than eating the oil from it. And when we say we want to have a whole food plant-based diet, we mean fruits and vegetables and whole grains and beans. And then you throw in the occasional healthy fats in their most natural form, not one that somebody's already processed all the good stuff out of it. So you're right, you need a little of everything. It's just, we got to be careful of that stuff down there, how much we have of it. And I think in our typical ultra processed society, most of our stuff is down there. But that's a good question. So, and here's different 100-calorie snacks. So we've got our little jelly bellies, it looks like, or jelly beans. Then we get, that's 16 of those, by the way. Then you got a 1/4 cup of raisins. We've seen that before. So they have no water, and then we move into grapes. So now we have a cup of grapes that we know is good on the good end. It's filled with water. Then we have our apples. You get 2 cups of apple slices, and you get 4 cups of cherry tomatoes, all for 100 calories. Now, I know that when you are hankering for something, you might be hankering for jelly beans and not hankering for cherry tomatoes. I get it. So you have a few jelly beans. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But it's just to make you aware. You know, another reason why this whole calorie density thing works is because you're going to eat those jelly beans. And maybe you are one of those people who can just eat one at a time and savor every little bite. I am not. But it takes a while to eat the cherry tomatoes and the apples and the grapes. And so the longer it takes us to eat things, the more likely we are to fill up from it, because it takes, remember, 20 minutes for our brain to figure out we're full. So that's another reason why that works. Yes, sir.
When you eat those types of foods, don't you? I think in nutrition, not a nutrition package is speaker, but you can because there's fiber.
Right.
Does this calorie thing go down because of the fiber kind of, or you get a subtract is what I'm saying as.
Yeah.
Or
So
is that a bunch of?
no, that's not wrong. And that's how we actually used to teach it, especially for people with diabetes who count their carbohydrates. We used to say that, yeah, you can eat this product, and let's say there's 15 grams of carbohydrate in this, but there's 5 grams of fiber. So you get to subtract the fiber. So you're right. It's still the same number of calories, but we don't get all of it. So you're absolutely right. I know in the diabetes world, for most people, they've kind of gotten away from subtracting the fiber because it's just sort of an added bonus. But you're right. You don't get all the calories from it. You're absolutely right. So that makes it good. So if you're going to look at labels, which we don't have to do, but just to show you how they came up with the density of things. So there's tomatoes. This was a can of tomatoes, a half a cup. It's 121 grams. That's its weight. And there's only 25 calories in that. So when you take that 25 and divide it by 121, you come up with 0.2. That's a very low energy density food. So that's how they figure out those things. Now, tomatoes are filled with water and nutrients and very low calories per bite. So we love that. Now look at mayo. A tablespoon is 13 grams by weight, and it's 100 calories. So if I take 100 and divide that by 13, I get 7.7. This is a high energy density food. No surprise, it's mayonnaise. So the bottom line is a kind of an easy way to think about it too, is if the calories are less than the grams in weight, then energy density is going to be below 1, and that's good. Now you don't have to do the math on all these things. It's really pretty obvious, I think, once you start thinking about it. But that's a good way to think about it if you're a ratio kind of person. So what are the benefits then of eating fruits and vegetables? It's not just energy density, but they're water filled. So they help make you feel more full. That's satiety. They make you feel more full. They increase the volume of your dish without adding very many calories. So we like that. And so for the same calories, you can eat 20 times as many tomatoes as you can eat pretzels by weight. And the thing is, you wouldn't eat that many pretzels probably, or that many tomatoes. Well, actually, you would eat that many pretzels, or I would, but you probably wouldn't eat that many tomatoes. When water's a part of the food, it has more effects on your fullness. That was one thing Barbara Rolls kind of figured out. She took people and gave them like a chicken rice casserole, let's say, had them eat it and then see how full or satisfied they were. And then had a glass of water on the side. Then she dumped that glass of water into the chicken rice casserole, making it into a soup. And they were more satisfied when it was part of the soup. So more than just eating the chicken rice casserole with the glass of water on the side. So being part of the food helps. So if you were going to try to volumize your food, make more volume for fewer calories, you'd add fruits and vegetables. You do water-filled foods, which are your fruits and vegetables. Air-filled food. What's an air-filled food?
Yeah.
What? Popcorn. Yeah, popcorn. Without all the kettle corn stuff on top of it. Yes. So air-filled food, but also puffed rice or cereals that are puffed, you know? And then if you put fiber in it, here's to your point, it fills you up more. If we had more meatless meals, meat is very calorie dense and high calories per bite. So the more meatless meals we have, the more we're able to volumize and take advantage of this. And then we just watch our portions of those things that are higher calorie density. And most of those would have no water in them. So you got your breads and your pastries, you got your meats and cheese, you got crackers, all that dry stuff. But also our nuts and oils. We still watch our portions of those. Now, I don't want to turn anybody off on nuts. So nuts are very calorie dense, but they have a lot of nutritional value. And when they do studies on nuts, they find out that they follow a little different pathway when they get inside our digestion. And we don't even get all the calories from our nuts. So they can definitely be part of our everyday life, even if we're trying to lose weight, which is very different from when I was in school 40 years ago of what we used to tell people. We tell them, oh, don't have nuts, they're so calorie dense. But now we know they're a little bit different. We can have them. You just have to be careful about your portions. You have to be careful about those big containers that you get from Costco. And you can just stick your hand in and not even realize how many you get while you're watching, Law and Order or whatever you like to watch. So here's some food expanders, things you could add to your meals for fewer calories per bite and increase the volume of your food. So mushrooms are a great one. So let's say you are making chili and you're making chili for a meat eater even. So it's got a little meat in it. So you use half the meat and chop a bunch of mushrooms, which are very meaty, like in a recipe. And now you just cut your calories in half. Mushrooms can go in soups and stews. Got a stir fry here they could go in. Zucchini is another one, super filled with water. And you can add that to things. We can spiralize them like we've done before in a few of our classes. And so they can be like noodles. Cauliflower is another really great one. That's why cauliflower rice has done such a takeoff. Cauliflower pizza crusts, because it increases the volume of that food for very few calories. Does anybody here like cauliflower?
Yeah.
I love cauliflower. John makes a really good shawarma with cauliflower. And my husband does not like cauliflower. And when I made it, he didn't even know it had cauliflower in it. And he liked it. Yeah. It's a good recipe. Don't tell him if he ever comes. Don't say, oh, I hear Debbie's feeding you cauliflower. Here's our puff cereal. It's increased with air, like puffed rice. Now, I'm not talking sugar smacks. I'm talking just the puffed rice and puffed things. Popcorn is a great one, too. It starts out very small. I mean, if you made popcorn, you start with like a little quarter cup of popcorn, fills with air, and now it makes 3 cups. It's what you put on it. So what do you put on your popcorn to keep it low energy density? You put Nooch, so nutritional yeast. The good one. Like that one. Anything else you put on yours? Some people like that tahini, that kind of Hispanic. It's chili, pepper, and lime. Is that what it is? Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one to put on there. What else? Anything else? Garlic and onion powder. Excellent idea. I love it. Okay, good. Popcorn.
What about what's that? The powder that makes the cheesy,
The nutritional yeast.
oh, so-
Yeah, so nutritional yeast on your popcorn. That's what John calls it, the hip name, Nooch. Yes. Okay, broccoli slaw. I'm a lover of the broccoli slaw. It's a big bag. I put it in my salad today. It's a big bag of, I think they must take the stems of broccoli and get them down to little tiny noodle-like. But it also has a little red cabbage in it, a little carrot. I love putting it in everything or putting everything on top of it. I like it hot and I like it cold. My sister can't understand why I cook it, but that's how I do it with a little peanut sauce and garbanzo beans. She likes to have it for lunch every day with her peanut sauce, but have it cold. So whatever you like. I like the broccoli slaw, and it's still pretty cheap. It hasn't gotten so famous that it's expensive. Any non-starchy veggies that you like, you just add. There's, zucchini. Does anybody have a garden yet this year? How's your garden doing? How's your garden growing? I'm getting zucchini. I'm getting yellow zucchini. I've got lots of greens. That's another thing too. You do everything with greens. Fruits are going to be good food expanders. And last time when we did a little cooking demo, we did a chicken kind of salad with chickpeas and we put grapes in it. And I think everybody liked the grapes more than they liked the chicken salad. So that can expand. Broth-based soups. So that's what Barbara Rolls figured out. If you eat a broth-based soup before a meal or a salad without no blue cheese or anything, but a regular green salad, you will eat less of your meal. And then foods that absorb water too. So we don't want to forget like oatmeal. It starts out small and gets bigger. Same with noodles. Start out small, get bigger. They absorb the water. So they are technically water-filled foods. And for our oatmeal, you could actually increase the amount of water you add to your normal oatmeal portion and cook it for twice as long. So I do 2 minutes in the microwave. I could do 4 minutes instead. And it increases the volume of it with water. So you're eating more food, fewer calories. So here's your challenge if you want to pump up the volume. So try to eat mostly those low energy density foods, and you're going to get more to eat. I think Dean Ornish wrote the book, like Eat More, Weigh Less or something, and it was the same concept. Eat lots of produce. It fills you up for fewer calories. Add fruits or veggies at each meal. Don't just save your veggies for dinner. When I worked and did food logs, people would sometimes never have a veggie until it was dinner time. You can't get all those veggies in, and you miss out on the opportunity to volumize your food and take that time to chew and swallow. Choose high fiber foods at each meal because those are going to fill you up more. Choose puffed or water-filled cereals. So that's like your oats or puff cereal. Have a broth-based soup or a salad before your meals. And eat smaller portions of those higher calorie things. And I thought I had a slide on this, but apparently I don't. Another reason why this works, this whole volumizing thing, is going to fill you up because of the water-filled food. So you are going to be more full. It's going to increase the fullness of your stomach, move those stretch receptors so they'll send a signal to your brain to say, I'm full. But also we eat with our eyes first. And when you look at that one, 1,500 calorie meal we looked at versus that other little one, your eyes are going to say, that one's going to fill me up. This little tiny thing isn't. So it just makes you more aware of that. And I think that's it. So I'm encouraging you to just eat more fruits and vegetables. It kind of goes along with our whole theme anyway. Eat more fruits and vegetables, whole grains and beans. Whole grains are another one that are going to suck up the fluid, right? So they're kind of a water-filled food too. And then we can eat more for fewer calories. How fun is that? And then I had a recipe today, the peanut pasta salad. I haven't mastered the gluten-free pasta. Edie has given me some tips. It was great. I cooked the pasta last night so that it could be cold today. And it doesn't do well the next day or being cold. Is it just being cold or is it the next day? John, do you know?
I don't, I think it's from being cold.
You think it's from being cold? Josh is thinking cold.
It's
It-
starch.
Yeah.
Rearrange.
I think it's both.
Yeah. So I said, Edie, what should I have done? She said, well, you should have cooked it today. But that horse was out of the barn, so I couldn't do that now. but this had some protein in it from the edamame, the soybeans, and then all these veggies. So the original recipe called for shredded cabbage and carrots, which I just bought in the little bags that were already shredded. But then I added a bunch of broccoli slaw too to increase the volume and used even a little less noodles, especially when I saw how darn tough they were. So I apologize for that. Cilantro, a few peanuts. The recipe has, I used the powdered peanut butter to give it the little peanutty sauce, and limes and little soy sauce and sriracha. I did not use the chili crunch oil because it is just oil. Does anybody like the chili crunch oil? Does anybody had? I love that stuff. Yeah. What do you do with it?
What does it get? With the chili?
It does. And it's just a little jar of oil.
It's got garlic in with the chilies.
Does it?
There's
Okay.
Yeah,
It is so fun.
yeah, there's a recipe that I'm avoiding like crazy, but it's a savory oatmeal
Oh,
with sauteed greens.
Yeah.
And garlic, with a chili crunch on top.
crazy.
Yeah,
It has a really good flavor, but it is mostly just oil.
So what do you do?
I put it on top of things, like I would have put it on top of this salad. They called it for it in the dressing.
And it's
And-
hot?
It's got a kick. It's not super hot though. Not super hot.
you put it in ice cream.
An ice cream. There you go. What do you do with it? Stir fries. Okay. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Okay, so stay tuned for 2 weeks from now when we do picnic / grill. I grew up grilling. John did not. So we're having a little debate about what we're going to do. But I hope you will be here for that. And thanks for coming today. And oh, Linda made a great salad. Linda, what's in your salad?
Green onion.
Celery seed?
No, that's mustard seed that came out
Ah.
of mustard.
Oh, so it was like a whole grain mustard? Oh, that's fun.
Yours.
How'd you get your apple so small?
Good night.
So you cut them on, because that was a lot.
Apple.
Oh, just 2 apples? Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Nice.
A very sharp knife. Okay.
I was doing John's knife therapy.
Yeah,
Ah, that's good.
For copier.
sharp knife.
Okay. You need a sharp knife. Okay, so stay cool and eat more fruits and veggies. So thanks, everybody. Thank you, Linda, for getting me set up.
Does water count as volume?
It does.
Water, they heat less.
Yes.
Ice water before a meal. Freeze it and stuff.